Today, we're taking a look at one of the most talked about open trap bars on the market, the Giant Lifting Open Trap Bar. Now, this trap bar has been on the market for quite a few years, but what I'm here to talk about are some of the updates that they've made to this bar since the last set of reviews came out back in 2023 from Gluck and Coop. And just so you know up front, I bought this bar with my own money, so there's no brand sponsorship, no free gear, no contractual talking points, just my honest opinions after using this bar in my home gym for a few months. On to the bar. Now, some of these changes that they've made to it in the last few years have been surprisingly good. So in this review, I'll walk you through what's new, what's good, and what still could use some improvement. Let's get to the changes. First, let's talk about the powder coat. Back in Gluck's original review in 23, he mentioned that the finish could be a bit better, and based on some of the footage from his review, it looked like the previous version of this bar used the more coarse and grippy type of a powder coat.
In this version, powder coating could probably be a little bit better. Mine does have a few nicks on it, but I've never been particularly impressed with the powder coating on any bar.
Now, they seem to have updated the powder coat, and now it's a very smooth and glossy finish, which has a much more premium feel to it. Now, secondly, there's the balance issue. Coop, in his review in 23, pointed out that the bar he got didn't balance and wanted to tip forward.
And when I put 45-pound plates on this or any other plates and get ready to deadlift, it tips forward. That could be because they're trying to avoid lawsuits from other companies that have patents on the open design.
And I was really pleasantly surprised when I received my bar, and when I would load it up with weights, it actually stayed balanced on the floor, which was a really great quality of life improvement. I didn't even expect it to be balanced when I got it, so this was an awesome surprise. Third, in the version that was reviewed back in 23, there was no center marking on the knurl, and not only is the marking there, but it's actually a nice and deep groove, so even if you're using thick straps, you can still feel the marking even through straps, which is a great quality of life feature that really lets you center your grip consistently when you're about to go and do that heavy lift. And finally, they also introduced another option for the weight sleeve length, and now you can order the bar either with 18-inch sleeves or 10-inch sleeves. I opted for the 10-inch sleeves because I don't really need to load more than 500 pounds in this bar, and it really makes dealing with the bar much easier in the tight home gym space where I don't have to worry about clipping the sides of my walls or other equipment as much as I move around with the bar, and it also makes storing it upright much easier, especially if you have constraints with your ceiling height. Now let's talk about a couple of other things that make this bar really stand out. First, there's the weight. If you get the 18-inch sleeves, this bar weighs 48 pounds, and if you get the 10-inch sleeves, it weighs 46 pounds, which is almost the same weight as a standard barbell, so your gym math still stays consistent, unlike its closest competitor bar, which is the Rep Fitness bar, which weighs in at about 70 pounds. Now, this bar also has a fixed sleeve design, which means they don't rotate. There are less moving parts and less things to rattle. So when you're dropping this bar, it's actually pretty quiet if you're using bumper plates. The fit and finish is great. It's again a very smooth powder coat, and the knurling on the bars is quite aggressive. I'm not sure if they changed that since the last iteration. I think the previous set of reviews mentioned that they used a volcano knurl, but this looks more like a mountain knurl to me, and it is quite an aggressive knurl. This is probably the most aggressively knurled bar that I've owned. Giant occasionally runs sales. I bought this bar during the Labor Day sale when it was 15% off, so I paid about $315, which included shipping, to get this bar to my door. All that being said, no product is perfect, and neither is this bar, but I think the downsides are pretty minor. First, calling this a budget bar is a bit of a stretch, coming in at $359 for the 10-inch sleeve version or $369 for the 18-inch version puts it only about $30 cheaper than the Rep Open Trap bar. Now at $400, I'm not really sure it deserves the budget badge, because that's a bit of a far cry from something like the Signature Fitness bar, which comes in at $100 and often under $100 if it's on sale. Now, second, one of the complaints from the last set of reviews was that there's no center knurling on this cambered part, and that still remains the same. In fact, the new powder coat, which does give it a much more glossy and premium finish, actually makes the bar even more slippery than its previous version. So it's not really optimized to do cambered squats and such. If that's something that's important to you, I think that the Rep Fitness bar may be a better choice due to its removable handles and center knurl. This bar is really optimized for doing pulling exercises or other exercises that utilize the handles and not the cambered part. And third, there's the jack. So the jack is just plain metal and there is no rubber or UHMW on the part that contacts the floor. So if you exercise on a rubber floor, it's not going to be an issue. However, if you're exercising on a hard floor or concrete, it may either damage the floor or wear away at the powder coat. And if you're using something like turf or carpet, it might actually slip a bit when you're trying to use the jack. So if you're considering this bar, consider that this is really designed to be used on some kind of a rubber floor. And when it comes to actually using the bar, that's where it really shines. Deadlifts feel great, and the built-in jack makes loading plates effortless. In fact, when you only have one side loaded with a 45, the bar still remains stable and doesn't want to tip to the side, unlike the signature fitness bar that I used to own before. When you want to flip from the low handle to the high handle, it's equally as easy. You just roll it up to the jack, flip it to the other side, push it forward a bit, and you're ready to go. Farmer's carries also feel pretty good, and I really like having the shorter sleeves there to reduce the chance of me clipping some piece of equipment while I'm carrying this up and down the aisle of my gym. Cambered squats are okay. As I've mentioned before, the bar is not really optimized for it. Now, if you have a smaller frame like I do, you can get away with it. Just be mindful of the slippery cambered area and you'll be fine. The bar is also rackable, which opens up a slew of other options like rack pulls, RDLs, etc. And regardless of what size of rack you have, whether it's a 49-inch rack like this one or a 47-inch like some of the imported models, it should fit just fine. Overall, the Giant Lifting Open Trap Bar is a well-designed and well-built piece of equipment that's only gotten better and better over the years. It's not the cheapest, but with the recent set of improvements like the knurling markings, the more aggressive knurling, the selectable sleeve options, the improved powder coat, and let's not forget the fact that it now balances, I think it's a very strong contender. So if you're in the market for a reasonably priced, high-quality open trap bar, this should be a serious contender on your shopping list, especially if you can pick it up during a sales event, which they frequently have. If you found this review helpful and you're thinking about picking one up, I would really appreciate it if you'd consider using my affiliate link, as it would help support the channel and help me bring more reviews like this to you on YouTube. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that you can get more of my videos when I release them in the future. And I'll see you on the next one.